friends, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to be going over my entire physical TBR. I think about my TBR and I know there's a lot of books on my TBR, but sitting around looking at all of them, kind of scary. So, I believe there's roughly like 50 to 60 books within my physical TBR. And my goal for 2025 is to cut down my TBR and to buy less books. If I'm going to read them, I'm going to try to read them on Kindle or Libby before I physically buy the book, because this is kind of out of hand. But I also cannot stop myself. I have no impulse control. I have no self-control when it comes to books. Buying books and reading books, two different hobbies. Totally. Let me just say, I'm not going to give full in-depth synopsis on all of these books because more than half of these books I have no idea what they're about at this point. I bought them when they sounded interesting to me, so I don't know. Let's get started first with fantasy. So, the first fantasy book we have here is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the fourth book in the ACOTAR series, and I'm actually currently reading this book. So, hopefully I will finish that so then I can move on to A Court of Frost and Starlight. Yep, because that's what this book is. This is The next book I have is A Court of Silver Flames, and this is the fifth book in the ACOTAR series. This thing is chunky. This is chunky. I'm very excited to read this book because I do know that it's about Nessa and Castian, and I love Nesta so far. I think that she's going to be my favorite character. So I'm very excited to get into this book. And I will also probably be making a reading vlog of this like I did with the other books in this series. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Continuing on with the Sarah J. Maas, I also have Assassin's Blade, which is I don't actually know the full complete order of Throne of Glass. Some people say to read this book first, some people say to read it like fourth or something. I have no idea. But I do have Assassin's Blade. And then I also have Throne of Glass because my goal is once I'm finished with ACOTAR, I'm going to move on and start my Throne of Glass journey, which I am so excited to do because people adore this series. And I have a feeling I'm going to love it as well. So, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. This is the second book in the Crown of Nyaxia, whatever. And I read the first book in the series. I think that was the first book that I read for the year. And I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. I just haven't gotten back into this realm. So the next book I have is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Manasalco. This is the first book in the series. I've heard a lot of really good things about this series, and so I'm excited to get into it. I also have started this book, but I was in a reading slump when I did, so I didn't get very far. So I do plan on picking this back up, hopefully maybe this winter. Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. I got this was a monthly pick at Barnes, and all I know, I think it's a queer romance and it has dragons in it, and that was enough for me to buy it. So it is on my PBR. The next books I have are The Coven and The Cursed by Harper L. Woods. This is it might be a trilogy, but I don't know for a fact. I got these mainly because literally stunning, gorgeous, beautiful. I know it's witches and vampires. I started The Coven. I have no recollection of how far in I am in the book, but they were too pretty to not buy, and so far the story was pretty good. But I was also in a reading slump when I was reading it, so I didn't finish it. The next book we have is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is a YA series, I believe. and people adore this series, so I wanted to give it a shot, and it seems like something that I would enjoy, so why not? Unravel Me, which is I think it's the second book in the Shatter Me series. I did read Shatter Me and I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to continue the series, but I just haven't picked this book back up yet. We have Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. These books are also a YA series, or no, it's a YA duology. And yet again, people are obsessed with these books, so I had to get them and try them out. And I haven't gotten there yet. Sweet Nightmare by Tracy Wolff. This is another YA series. I think it's going to be a series. This is the same author as the Crave series, which is one of my favorite fantasy series. I don't know. Also, this cover is just so cute. It has a bookmark in it, but I never started it, so I don't know what that's about. And then I have the first book in the Zodiac Academy series. I was listening to this book on Audible, and so I want to say like maybe 30% of the way through it, but I haven't picked it up physically to read at all. Next, I have Fable and Namesake by Adrienne Young. I bought these because they were pretty. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, they're so cutie, and they have sprayed edges, and I thought they were cute, so I bought them. I have no idea what they're about. Don't know. I have Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. I've heard a lot about Olivia Blake. People love her writing, and so I bought it. I liked the cover. It has sprayed edges, and it has to do with vampires. Give me a vampire any day, and I'll take it. Next, we have The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lindy. I have no idea what this book is about, but it was so pretty, and the sprayed edges were gorgeous as well, so I bought it. But I had to have thought that something else about it was interesting enough for me to buy it because I wanted to read it, so we'll see. Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan. And I actually did start this book, but I was in a reading slump when I started it, and so I only got 40 pages in, but I was very intrigued by the plot of this story. Then we have Beautiful Villain by Rebecca Kenny. This book also just literally beautiful. It was so pretty. I believe this book had vampires in it, that's why I bought it. I did start it, but I was in a reading slump, so I never got to finish it. Then we have My Vampire Plus One by Jenna Levine, and I was really excited about this book because I read the first book in this little series kind of thing she has going, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to get into this book at some point. Probably gonna do that more towards next fall. And then we have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and people were talking about this book a lot, not the October that just happened, but the one before that, and so I bought this, but I just haven't gotten a chance to get to it within that spooky season, so I guess maybe 2025. And then I have Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Maher, and I just finished reading Assistant to the Villain, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to finally read this book. It's been sitting on my shelf since it came out, and oh my god, there's a unicorn! Stop it. I am very, very excited to get into this book at some point. Then I have The Heritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Everybody knows this book. Everybody already read this book, and I haven't, and it's still sitting on my TBR, and I really want to get to it at some point. So we will see. And then lastly, within this little fantasy-esque genre, we have The Secret Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I am dying to get into this book. I have heard that it's a really slow beginning though, and that's what stops me from actually doing it. But hopefully hopefully this winter I will read this book, because I feel like it would be a good book to curl up with. Now we're gonna go into like mystery thriller vibe. I only have a couple books in this because I don't typically gravitate towards them. So we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Everybody knows this book. Everybody loves this book. Not me, apparently, because I haven't read it yet, and I want to read it so that I can watch the Netflix show, because people were saying that it was really good. And honestly, I know that I could read this so quickly if I just do it. Then we have That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. I don't know anything about this book. I saw it on TikTok and people were talking about it, and I decided that I needed it. I don't know. And then lastly, we have Final Girls by Riley Sager. I did actually start this book back in I guess I started this book in 2023, but I wasn't in a like mood for this. I'm pretty sure I tried to read this in the summertime, and I wanted it to be like Halloween or like cozy weather to read this book, and then the cozy time came back around and I never ended up picking up the book. So now we're gonna get into the romance books. So first up we have Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This is the third book in the Boys of Tommen series. I read Binding and Keeping 13 and absolutely loved them, so I'm super excited to read Saving Six. Then we have Juniper Hill by Devney Perry. This is the second book in the Eden series, and I enjoyed the first book, so high hopes for this next one. The Art of Catching Feelings by Alicia Thompson. I bought this book because this cover is absolutely adorable. Also, it's about baseball, and I love baseball boys, so I figured this would be good for me. And then we have Just Last Night by Mari McFarlane. And I've heard Haley Pham talk about this author a lot, and so I wanted to give this book a try. I just bought this recently though, so it hasn't been sitting on my TBR for too long. Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. I bought this book to read in the fall time because it looks like it's giving fall. I'm pretty sure it has to do with a funeral home or something like that. But it just was giving fall vibes, but I didn't end up getting to it. So we'll tuck it away for next year. And then I have The Cinnamon Bum Bookstore by Lori Gilmore. So this is the second book in her Dream Harbor series. And I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. It was cute. It gave all the fall vibes. But I have heard that this book takes place in the summertime, which is not what this book looks like it's going to do. But either way, I'm sure it just gives straight vibes the way the other one did. So then we have King of Greed by Anna Huang. This is the third book in the Kings of Sin series. And I enjoyed the other two books in the series that I read, so. Then we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I really wanted to see what her fantasy books would be like, so I picked this book up, and then I just never got to it. Same thing with Not in Love. It was her newest release, and the cover was just so cute. It's actually shiny, and I got really excited about it, bought it, and haven't picked it up since. Then we have A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. I actually just read The 7-Year Slip and absolutely adored it, so I'm excited to read another one of her books. I did hear that this one wasn't necessarily people's favorites, but please just look at this book. The color, everything, it's just so cute, and the premise of it is really cute as well, so I'm intrigued. So the next book I have is Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. This is the first book in her Gold Rush Ranch series. It's actually the first series she put out before Chestnut Springs and Rose Hill. And so I'm really excited to read this and to see how much her writing has improved since these books, at least. So I have Off to the Races, and I have A Photo Finish. Then I have Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in the Lake Wisteria or Lakefront Billionaire series. I read Love Redesigned and had a really good time reading it, and I've heard that people even liked this book more than they liked that one. So that makes me really excited as well. And then I have Things We Hide from the Light and Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. These are the second and third book in the Knock 'Em Out series. I read the first book in the series a couple months back or more towards the beginning of the year, and I had a really good time reading it. So I'm very excited to continue the series and see what goes on. And then we have just a whole bunch of L. Kennedy books because I read the Off-Campus series and absolutely adored it. So then I went out and bought the entire Briar U series, which I haven't read because when I was reading the Off-Campus series, you kind of do realize they are all kind of copy and paste. They are all super similar. So I never ended up picking up any of these books to read them, but I do eventually want to slowly read them. So we have The Chase, The Risk, The Play, and The Dare. Then we have The Graham Effect, which actually the main girl in this book is the daughter of the couple from the first Off-Campus series book. So I'm very intrigued to see how that plays out. Oh my god, the books are falling! They're falling! So I'm very intrigued to see how that goes. I've actually heard very good things about this book. And then I have Girl Abroad. Honestly, I haven't heard too many amazing things about this book, but I would still like to give it a shot. And is that it? Did I do it? Oh my god. Okay. Oh, hold on. Hold that thought. I found two more. I also have The Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore. This is the third book in the Dream Harbor series. This is the Christmassy one. So hopefully I can read this soon within this winter because I'm not gonna read this any other time of year. And then I also have Love Light Farms by B.K. Borson, which is also another holiday book that I will hopefully read this winter. Alrighty, and with all of that said, that is my entire physical TBR. So hopefully at some point I will read all these books, we will see, and knock them off of my TBR and make room for some new books. If there are any books in this video that you want me to have in a reading vlog or something, let me know. Leave me a comment down below and I will see what I can do with that. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you had a good time hanging out with me, hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.